Alright, and now I did have. Oh. Hello, everybody. This is just like a weather stream. Feel free to ask me questions, but I'm just gonna go over the weather real quick. Hi, Dan. So first I'm gonna go over the Storm Prediction Center outlooks. So right now we do have a slight risk of severe weather across a sliver of south central Oklahoma and north central Texas. But we do have a marginal risk across mainly southern Minnesota. We do have a couple areas to watch for tornadoes. The northern one probably is going to be the most significant of the two for tornadoes. I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple weak tornadoes up there later. We already do have storms up there, and we have some storms in north central Texas near Fort Worth and Dallas. Not much of a wind risk today. Our main threat today is hail. We have had some large hail across north central Texas. It seems that it's really just damaging winds and hail so far. Tomorrow we have two areas to watch. We have a slight risk across western and central Oklahoma into the northeastern Texas Panhandle into southwestern Kansas and never across eastern Nebraska, extreme northwestern Missouri, and southwestern Iowa. This is our 2% tornadoes for tomorrow, mainly across northern Oklahoma, where we can see an isolated tornado or two. And then here's our wind threat. That's going to be the main threat. And then we also have the hail threat for tomorrow. And then we could even see some severe weather on Tuesday, mainly across southwestern Arkansas, southeastern Oklahoma, and northeastern Texas. Wait a second. The dark green. So basically, you have like the outlooks here. So the light green is just thunderstorms. With a dark green, that's like your low severe weather threat. Then like your orange is like your mid severe weather threat. Then once you get into like reds and pink, that's like when you get like tornado outbreaks and derechos and stuff. So if you're in the dark green, you don't really have to worry. But if you're in the yellow, you should probably prepare for at least a little bit of severe weather for tomorrow. And then, obviously, we talked about this. We also have the marginal risk extending across a large area here from central Tennessee and southern Kentucky all the way through northeastern Texas and eastern Oklahoma. Here's our excessive rainfall. It looks we have a slight risk of excessive rainfall across Alright, here we have a slight risk of excessive rainfall for today across eastern Oklahoma, northwestern Arkansas, and also across like southeastern Kansas, southwestern Missouri. We have a marginal risk of rain, but we have a marginal risk of flash flooding across much of Arizona and southern California. For our day 2 outlook, really not much to talk about. Then for day 3, have a large slight risk of flash flooding across extreme northeastern Texas, much of Arkansas, southern Missouri, southern Illinois, southeastern Kansas, and eastern Oklahoma. They're surrounded by a large marginal risk of enemy. We have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall across the western California coast. And surprisingly, we're already talking about snow, mainly in the higher elevations. We can see how the snow progresses there over the next few days. Oh no. So you can see it's mainly the Rockies of like Wyoming, Montana, Colorado there. Nothing too significant really though. Here's our National Hurricane Center outlook. We have Gabrielle here, but we also have this area of interest, 10% chance of formation in 40 hours, 60% chance of formation in 7 days. This will likely take a similar track to Gabrielle, maybe just a little bit further west, like between kind of like the track of Aaron and between that and Gabrielle. This could get a little closer to the East Coast, but it should be mostly an LC storm. This is the one we have to worry about. We have also low chance of development, only 30%. This has several days to slowly develop, and I think this might be our next system, and one of our first systems to really have a significant impact on land. That's where you have to talk about areas of interest. Well, let me scroll over now. Here's Gabrielle. Is expected to become a major hurricane briefly as it moves to the northeast of Bermuda there. A low in Category 3 before it moves off to the east and becomes a tropical storm well to the east there, bringing tropical storm force winds to those islands. Lincoln, Nebraska against severe weather this week. If we go to the day 2 outlook, Lincoln is under a slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow. No tornado threat, 15% wind threat, 15% hail threat. So there will be some scattered severe thunderstorms. It's mainly just ice or scattered damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour and scattered large hail up to ping pong ball size for tomorrow there. And then we also have Tropical Storm Narda, which is mainly going to move to the west, becoming a hurricane in low in Category 2. This is the main storm we're talking about, Super Typhoon Regasa. Right now is at 145 knots, so that's expected to gradually weaken over the next few days, and it might make its first landfall on this island right here. You might not be able to see it, but Barry right there, that might be its first landfall. You can see right about here is a Category 5. Then another landfall at around 100 knots or 115 miles an hour in southwestern China. Then another one either as a low end typhoon or high end tropical storm in Vietnam before it moves inland and dissipates. And we also have Typhoon Neoguri, which expected to gradually weaken over the next several days. Not very much to talk about, just a powerful out-to-sea storm. We can look at satellite imagery. Here's Gabrielle. You can see it's decently well organized, not the best organized system. The difference between a hurricane and a typhoon, there's two differences. So a hurricane occurs in the northern Atlantic and eastern central Pacific Oceans, and while a typhoon occurs in the western Pacific Oceans. And usually typhoons have a slightly lower pressure than hurricanes just because of how like the environmental pressure works and stuff, and just because of like how like the formation of tropical cyclones works. So a lot of the time you'll see like category 5s in the western Pacific a lot of the time get down into the 9, 10 millibars, but in the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific, sometimes they are in the upper, like 2 or 920s, and a lot of the time they'll go below 920, especially for just like 160, 165. So that's really the difference between them. Here's Narda. You can see it's barely even organized at this point, but it's well organized some more over the next few days. And you can see it has some good convection, but it's not really super organized. Here's Regasa. Still at 165 miles an hour, although it appears to be weakening slightly. It did go under an IWO replacement cycle earlier, and probably did weaken a little bit, but now it is back to 165 miles an hour. And you can see it's already bringing some heavy rainfall and some wind gusts to the Philippines, like northern Luzon there, and is quickly moving towards these islands here. Here's Neoguri. You can see right now it's 110 knots or 120 miles an hour. And you can see it's starting to get a little bit of an extra tropical look. You can see not as much convection, and as it's getting far north, it's close to 30 north right now. And as it gets farther north, the waters are gonna like get cooler very quickly. Like down down here they were kind of warm, but up here they're cold, and it's gonna weaken quickly. Let's see, we got another person that joined. Whoever you are, thank you for joining the stream. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Here's Invest92W. You can see not very well organized, but it could still form into something right now. I think it's a low chance of formation. Oh, we have a third person. Thank you guys for joining the stream. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. I'll try to answer them the best I can. And also feel free just to discuss the weather that's happening currently and going to happen over the next few days. Evan versus random area of interest in the Indian Ocean, which I don't even know I have a present area of interest because it was more disorganized than like a spilled box of crayons, I guess. It's just like a couple random thunderstorms where they said like let's just make it an invest for no reason. I feel like nope, I don't care. I already know how to use. So yeah, that's really all I have to talk about. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. And I'll answer them to my best of ability. And please also remember to like this stream, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends and family. Because that lets YouTube know to share with smart people, and it lets me know that you guys and videos. And I will do more updates and live streams in the future. All right. Share it on Facebook. Stay for a little bit longer. Yeah. Okay. Um. I also do have a radar app up on a different device here. There's some activity going on. We do have a tornado possible severe thunderstorm near Edgerton, Minnesota, heading towards Hardwick, North Minnesota. To be honest, I don't know why it's even tornado possible. It did have a little bit of rotation earlier, but not really anything now. It was really brief rotation there. And then we do have some severe thunderstorms to the south of Minneapolis. Nothing really to talk about with those. And we have no severe thunderstorm warnings in Texas. We have one in eastern Oklahoma heading towards Fort Smith, Arkansas, and that actually does have sort of a almost like slight bow echo to it, so there could be some more significant winds, especially on the northern edge, and it could spin up a brief tornado, even though it's not any tornado risk right now. There was a tornado possible severe thunderstorm earlier today in a similar area, I think, back a little bit to the west. Let's see. We also have some special weather statements and actually severe thunderstorm warning to the west of Kalamazoo, Michigan, and then some special weather statements in northern Indiana and one in central Illinois. Mainly looks just to be some damaging wind gusts up to 50 to 55 miles an hour, and for the one in Illinois that's actually in a populated area near Springfield. And there's a small area where there could be some severe wind gusts. So I won't be surprised if they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning for Springfield, Illinois, in a little bit. Not entirely sure for severe wind gusts, but based on radar, I think there could be. We also have some severe thunderstorm warnings in what is this? Ontario, southern Ontario, near Toronto. Looks like some damaging wind gusts is all that is, and it's heading to the east. This will impact Toronto and probably for let's see. I just need to do some mathematical calculations here. So it's moving east at 28 miles an hour, and Toronto. So it'll be there in like a little over an hour. So if you're in Toronto, which you probably aren't, just make sure you're indoors, away from windows for that severe thunderstorm. Also, same thing goes for Fort Smith storm, and the storm's up in southern Minnesota too. There were a few special weather statements out in Nevada for some scattered strong thunderstorms. really nothing too concerning out there. Mainly just some strong wind gusts. And then we have a special weather statement on Wyoming. And like a terrible radar hole. And then we have one random special weather statement in Washington, where we have some scattered thunderstorms. That's a little bit interesting. I think that's just contamination, not rotation on that storm, because that would not make sense at all. But I could be wrong about that. um, let's see. There's really not much else going on. So feel free to ask some questions about the ongoing weather, I guess. Yeah. Wait a second. Wait a second. How do I have 2 viewers and 3 likes? Well, that's weird. Thank you to whoever just joined. That's totally not just me watching on a different device. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in southwestern Minnesota, which is considerable for golf ball sized hail. There's also 60-mile-an-hour winds and a tornado possible tag. This is connected to an outflow boundary, which could either completely inhibit its ability to produce a tornado or increase the probabilities. There's some weak broad rotation. Doesn't seem like anything too noteworthy, but if it does strengthen, we could tornado warn it in the future if it does sustain, and it strengthens a lot because it is very weak right now. Like, I'm talking about like 10 miles an hour weak. like it's pretty much just non-existent rotation, but it is still there. Um, there is still some damaging wind gusts heading towards Fort Smith, Arkansas, and areas to the south of that. Probably some 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts there. It's mainly going to be across southern Fort Smith towards Hackett and Greenwood there. So if you're in Fort Smith, which you probably aren't, probably just stay indoors. Um, oh. Oh. Wait a second. Okay. There might be a severe thunderstorm warning for Springfield, Illinois soon, because the radar is picking up on 55 to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And that is within a reasonable range, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did issue a severe thunderstorm warning for that area soon, including Springfield, Illinois, Southern View, Woodside, Chatham, Rochester, Sherman, and Williamsville. So if you're in the area, just make sure you're indoors, because there could be some wind gusts up to 60 to 65 miles an hour of this storm. Going back to Minnesota, we do have a little bit of a hook forming on this storm, a little bit of a small hook. We do have a little bit of rotation trying to develop. And this seems to be a little bit of a low precipitation hook. I think this is being aided by a outflow boundary that's connected to the storm. I love thunderstorms. Yeah, there's probably going to be at least a scattered severe thunderstorm or two in your area tomorrow. That could bring some scattered damaging wind gusts up to 60 to 65 miles an hour and some hail up to $50 to ping pong ball size tomorrow in your area. Remember, guys, if you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, please stay indoors, because even 1-inch hail, if that hits you on the head, that is not going to feel good, and you do not want to be standing in 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts, because even that is considered severe, and that can cause some damage. Not super significant, but you could still lose shingles, and there could be isolated power outages. Once you get to like 80 miles an hour, that's when you get like significant damage, more widespread power outages, but still somewhat scattered. And when you get to like 90 to 100 miles an hour, that's where you get like derecho-like winds, widespread power outages. Like your roof can completely just fly off. Tomorrow we're looking more in the 60 to 70 mile an hour range, so shingles, roof damage, scattered power outages tomorrow in some areas, but nothing too significant for tomorrow in your area, it looks like. So this rotation in southwestern Minnesota continues to strengthen. The hook isn't as good, but there's a little bit stronger rotation now. So if this trend continues, we'll probably get a tornado warning, I'd say 10-15 minutes from now. And there's really nothing. The closest thunderstorm to it is like 15 miles. Hello, Western Ohio EAS. Guys, remember, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll try to answer them as good as I can. And also, you can discuss generally about the weather, and I'll try to comment every so often about the discussion in the chat. And also, please remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends and family so they can stay informed. And if you do that, YouTube will also share this with more people, and it will do more live streams and updates in the future. Can I be mine? Let me just... after the streamings, I will make you a mod. So that's basically all I have to talk about. So I'm probably going to wrap this stream up pretty soon. So remember to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to my channel so that YouTube will push this out to more people, and so I can do more live streams and updates in the future. And I think I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.